Oh, and thank you for watching this regional update for the Western U.S. I'm Andrew Pritchard, Senior Meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. Well, happy Friday. We'll start off with the satellite picture across North America. We have got our cutoff low and zeta now quickly moving off the northeast coast here, bringing some snow to New England before it departs across the Atlantic later on this afternoon. We've also got a storm system making its way across portions of western Canada, clipping the Pacific Northwest, bringing some rain to that area. We'll see some gusty winds through parts of the northern and central Rockies as this front makes its way through. Otherwise, just looking at a couple opportunities for some rain across portions of Washington and Oregon as we head through the next 5 days. Otherwise, talking about a warm-up across the west and a continuation of dry conditions until at least we get to the end of the coming week. So here's the radar picture here on Friday morning. Again, some rain across western Washington right now, trying to make its way down into the northwestern Oregon, west of the Cascades, and then we've got precipitation across New England. Otherwise, we are dry across the lower 48 here on this Friday, October 30th. Dry and cool for a lot of us. We've got a big cold air mass making its way in across the central part of the United States, but again, we'll be seeing warmth returning slowly across the west and then in large scale as we head into early next week. The hazards map right now from National Weather Service, again, a lot of this is related to high winds or chilly temperatures as we look at the advisories. We've got dense fog advisories across parts of the Central Valley, as well as parts of eastern Washington into northern Idaho, western parts of Montana, and then again, high wind watches, wind advisories across other portions of Montana into the Dakotas, and then you move off into the Red River Valley, into the Ohio River Valley, parts of the Midwest and the Southern Plains, talking about freeze warnings and frost advisories as we head into the weekend. The fire weather risk beginning to decrease here across the region after several days of elevated conditions across parts of Southern California. We're going to have an elevated risk here across parts of northeastern California, northern Nevada, into southeastern Oregon, all the way through the Snake River Valley into parts of southwest Montana today. That is ahead of the approaching storm system. We'll have dry conditions and some strong southwesterly wind gusts in that area as we head through the next 24 hours, and then out of the northwest as the front passes through. And then as we get into tomorrow, this will be Saturday, talking about an elevated risk here with some of the downslope flow across southern California. So here we've got the total precipitation forecast through Monday on the left, and then we'll take it all the way through Friday morning on the right. And so here you can see the system moving through over the next 24 hours, bringing some light precipitation to western portions of Washington and Oregon. Not much for the I-5 corridor. There just maybe a few tenths to a trace of precipitation there over the next 24 hours or so, and then this begins to move off across higher elevations, northern Idaho and western Montana. But then as I take it through Friday, we do have another system that comes in here during the early part of the week that could bring some more significant precipitation to the region, early to mid part of the week. And then we have a potential opportunity for some rain and some precipitation further to the south here as we get into next weekend. So we'll talk about that here as we dive into this forecast. Let's look at the upper level jet stream pattern here. They're the mid levels here, 500 millibars. As we head into the weekend, this is the system moving through right now through parts of western Canada, bringing some precipitation to western Washington and northwestern Oregon as we head through the next 24 hours, and then across mountainous regions of the northern Rockies into Friday night and Saturday morning. Ridging on the backside will keep us quiet here as we head through the early part of the week, allowing warmer temperatures to return to the region. This is the system then that comes blasting in midweek, right around Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, bringing a return of precipitation to the Pacific Northwest and western Canada. And then it's this system, this little wave coming out of the north, that's going to help take this trough and drag it down the west coast and set it up over the western U.S. As you see here, we're getting later into the week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now we're getting pretty good agreement in this general pattern happening, this return to an amplified pattern, a big ridge across the Pacific, and then the trough diving in across the western United States. But this is 8 to 10 days out there. Well, we have good agreement in the pattern change happening. Exactly how this happens, exactly how this trough drops down the west coast is going to have a huge impact on who gets precipitation and how much precipitation we actually get. So we're going to talk about some of the agreement we're seeing with the ensembles here, but we'll leave the specifics for our forecast updates next week. Now let's look at the operational European run with the precipitation forecast here, taking it through the next 7 to 10 days. Again, here's what we've got going through the area right now. Some light precipitation in western Oregon, western Washington as we head through the day today, and then light rain and snow showers in the northern Rockies as we head through the overnight into Saturday morning. High pressure sets up across the west, drying us out as we head into Saturday night. It'll keep us dry Sunday, taking this into Monday now, and then into Tuesday, and then it's Tuesday night into Wednesday. We're going to start to see the return of moisture, the return of precipitation to the Pacific Northwest as this first wave starts to make its way in here. We get some onshore flow, so really late Tuesday into Wednesday, we start soaking the Pacific Northwest. And then this is where we start to get the question marks and the potential southward shift in that precipitation. It's this next low that's moving down the west coast that helps take this trough, dragging it down the west coast, potentially bringing some precipitation to parts of California over toward the Four Corners as we get into next weekend. So this is way out there, but again, we're starting to get some good agreement with the ensembles here, which I'll show you on the next slide after this. I just want to kind of highlight again that while I'm starting to talk about this potential, it is way out there. As we talk about the period between now and Wednesday, November 4th, we're talking about rainfall opportunities across western Canada down into the Pacific Northwest, but a continuation of very dry conditions across California off to the east across the Snake River region down to the Four Corners. Not much in the way of opportunities for any kind of precipitation until we get to the end of next week. That's when we soak the Pacific Northwest and then also bring in the opportunity for precipitation from California across the central and southern Rockies. I mentioned good agreement on the ensemble picture here. We've got the European ensemble on the left, the GFS ensemble on the right. Both of these snapshots from next Sunday, November 8th. You see the return to an amplified pattern with a ridge in the Gulf of Alaska, that trough digging in across the west, and then the ridge across New England. Same thing here on the GFS. So we have good agreement. I'm getting better and better confidence with each day that we're going to see this trough across the western part of the country. But again, just subtle changes in the alignment here. Do we cut this off? We've seemed to really like developing cutoff lows here across parts of the west and the southern U.S. This late summer into the fall pattern or fall season. So again, I'm just not going to spend too much time laboring on the specifics here because there's an opportunity for rainfall across California into the central and southern Rockies and some snow, of course, in the higher elevations, but the specifics are just not clear at this point. What is clear is going to be a return to some warmer conditions as we head into the end of the weekend into next week. So potential return to some isolated fire weather conditions, some heightened conditions in some localized areas. What's going to be the saving grace is, again, with a pretty quiet pattern across the region and the troughiness and storm systems really dodging the region, we're not going to see much in the way of significant wind gusts across the area. We may see some winds gusting in the higher elevations across the northern and central Rockies, accompanying the system sweeping through Saturday into Sunday. But again, looking for pretty tame conditions as far as winds go across the west over the next 4 to 5 days. We'll finish here with a look at those highs over the next several days. Warm conditions already returning to the region. We'll see a bit of a cool shot across parts of the Pacific Northwest into Montana here with that frontal boundary moving through the area Friday into Saturday. But we already returned to anomalously warm conditions off to the north as we get into Sunday. The warmth really starts to set in as we head into early next week, with that potential storm system looming at the end of the coming week. I hope you have a great Friday and a wonderful weekend. We'll be back to talk to you once again on Monday morning.